Welcome to another episode of the Via VHS podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, as always, joined by Spencer. And this week we have a 1 hour and 27-minute long erection for you as our featured rental. It is Cobra. It is hot, sweaty, greasy, 80s, angsty action. Oh, wow, you have like two copies of it. Is that
I brought my DVD one, and then I got the 4K one that I, for some reason, bought last year. It's one of those ones where I was like, it popped up, and I was like, it was kind of expensive one, like $35. I'm like, Cobra on 4K with some special features, why not? Give me that. Because the DVD one is very bare bones. I mean, it's like old school flippy fold Warner Brothers case. You know, that kind of style.
I would kill to have this on VHS because the poster art for this,
it's so good.
It's so
literally
it matches up with the movie so well.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you this. I was looking for this movie for a long time, way back in the day, because it was on my list, like in the early 2000s, when I was trying to really, find out all the movies that I've been missing out on. And Cobra was one that I really wanted to check out. And there used to be this really badass. It was a music shop in Sacramento, California, but they also sold DVDs and VHSs and Laserdiscs and all that good stuff. And sadly, like so many great places, it doesn't exist anymore. But that's where I found my original DVD copy, was there. And I was so excited to see it. But I kid you not, like when I first went in this movie, I actually expected it to be more like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, but Stallone's version, because it's like the same time period and everything like that. And I don't know why. I was just looking at literally the cover, and I was making all this stuff up in my head what it's going to be. And it's kind of a way different genre movie than expecting a Commando one. So it took me a couple watches before I really got into Cobra.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen this.
Really?
Yeah, I've wanted to watch it for years. And it's kind of what I did expect. I just kind of expected a very 80s angsty attitude movie, and that's what this thing is. And it's just so stylized. It's like I said before, all the pavement's wet. That's all you got to know. Like, I mean, even when they're in like daytime and they're in the desert later in the movie, the pavement's wet. Like the motorcycles are falling down and they're splashing. I'm like, yeah, because it's the 80s, you're going to have that wet pavement. And everything's glowing. There's like that neon to it. Okay. Also, the Pepsi shit in this movie. I mean, I want to give awards. We give an awards for explosions. We have Explosion of the Year, which we have some contenders in this one. But man, I want to start giving an award for Pepsi ads.
Yeah, this one's hard to beat, the Pepsi ad. I mean, Stallone's apartment literally has a giant neon Pepsi sign outside that he gets to have a badass fight scene underneath. Like, if you want award for coolest Pepsi tie-in of all time, to top it off, this movie even has Coca-Cola placements in it too.
Yeah.
And Coors.
I think that they just filmed it. Yeah, I think that, the Coors one's cool. I feel like they just filmed a bunch of them and then said, let's see which one will give us money. And my guess is none, because if one of them gave the money, then the Coke or Pepsi would not have been in there. But the Pepsi would have been hard to take out. Because they really, I mean,
the sign is huge.
Yeah, that sign's huge. And also at the beginning of the movie or in the grocery store, the iconic opening scene, which I have seen that before. He's like hiding behind like this really cool Pepsi thing, and it's like pouring the,
Yeah, Pepsi pouring down like one of those like rotating kind of plastic spin things. I don't know.
Yeah,
what you call it. Like it's kind of big, like it's animated.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome.
It's too cool.
The whole thing is cool. Yeah, that makes the fight scene one of my favorites, just because the neon glow of the Pepsi sign. I'm like, this is so fucking awesome. But yeah, this movie, I had so much fun. It's a lot of ways it's what I expected. When it started, I was a little worried, because you have that kind of voiceover at the very beginning, which is cool. He's like, every 11 seconds, somebody's raped, and then somebody dies, and then somebody's shot in the face every 247 times a day. And he's doing that voice. I'm like, this is where Vin Diesel got it. This is
it's just that one where I feel Stallone just like has been, gargling gravel.
Yeah. And he doesn't talk like that the rest of the movie, but he's right up in the microphone. And then here's it. And then like, I'm like, this is Vin Diesel for 30 years now. He watched Cobra once. And he's like, I live my life. Well, what is it? A quarter mile at a time. And he talks the exact same way. Well, I despise Vin Diesel, but like, I don't have a good reason for it, but I do. Um, but yeah, no, this movie's fun.
Yeah, I think the big surprise of this movie though is you expect it to be like a big action movie, but it's almost like half a horror movie at the end of the day. And
Yeah,
and it's kind of paced differently because of all that, and that's where I felt like it took me like a couple watches to really like enjoy it a lot.
reminded me, had like a Michael Mann vibe a little bit to it.
Yeah, like Manhunter almost.
Yeah, yeah, it had some of that. The way it was lit, just the tone of it, the aesthetic tone.
Yeah, it has
Um,
like those Brian De Palma movies when he was really into making the Italian giallo style horror
yeah.
movies, or thrillers you might want to call them.
Hmm.
That's what this movie kind of has a bunch in there. And then to top it off, you combine that with a Stallone action picture, so you're getting like a fusion genre.
Yeah, it's kind of its own thing, and it's at the end of the day, it kind of I don't want to say devolves because I fucking loved this movie, but it kind of just turns into your standard action flick and a big shoot 'em up. But um, you know, technically George P. Cosmato, how do you say his last name? Cosmatos.
Cosmatos.
Yeah, we'll
George
just
P.
say
Is
Cosmatos.
that what it is?
I like that.
Cosmatos.
Yeah, and he's done some other stuff. He did Tombstone, but now I will question how much
He did Rambo too.
yeah, Rambo 2. Now I question how much he was involved in those films because from what I read in here, that Stallone basically directed this movie, which it feels that way.
Yeah, well, I feel Stallone. I call this the diva era of Stallone as well too.
Yeah.
This is when Stallone's got those. You'll see him behind the camera, and for some reason, he's wearing those long, goofy jackets. Probably that are $10,000 fur coat things, and he's got the big sunglasses on, and he's literally like Mr. Movie Star. Flashy as all can be. He's complaining about everything. This is where you start to hear stories of like stuntmen and everything like that, kind of complaining about working with Stallone.
Mm.
And I always just call this era the diva Stallone era. Sometimes
Yeah.
some people refer to it as the coke fueled era of Stallone.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
I feel like he goes from, in a sense, what he becomes is he becomes his Rocky character because he starts off as the blue collar, the everyman guy. He's writing scripts in his car. He's trying to sell it. People don't want to hire him as an actor, and he works
Has
his
to
way
sell
up.
his dog.
Yeah, has to sell his dog and then rebuy it back. It's probably the wrong dog. The guy's like, oh shit, we got rid of that dog already. Just give him something that looks similar.
Yeah.
So he goes through all that, but then once he starts to get money, just like in Rocky 3 and everything like that, he's starting to wear suits. He's starting to be kind of yuppie. He's trying to, fit in with society. And I feel that's what sort of these like later days 80s ones are. Stallone is in that diva era. And it's not that there's bad movies or anything like that, but I feel like he's the one that he's got to be in control of everything he does. He starts rewriting every script that comes for him. It doesn't matter who's in charge or directing it. He's got to have his hand on it.
Well, you mentioned rewriting the script, and famously, this movie is his, uh, not completely, but a lot of it is his pitch for Beverly Hills Cop because he was going to be in Beverly Hills Cop, and it was intended to be a comedy. And he got it. He's like, I don't like any of this,
Hey, but the end of the tailpipe, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get any of this. What is this? And why am I black? So he rewrites it and then submits it. And they're like, the studio's like, this movie's not as funny. And now it's like 3 times the price. So we're going to go ahead and not do it and get Eddie Murphy involved. And he's like, fine, let's make Cobra. And he turns that movie into Cobra. And Cobra was already a book. What's the book called? Is the book called Cobra?
No, because the book is called I just had it in my, let me see here. Gosh, drawing a blank all of a sudden on the book. But Fair Game. And
Yeah.
what that one is I think the book is literally just, this is as we get farther onto it, but there's the Bridget Nielsen character she witnesses a murder, and then the murderers are tracking her down. That's kind of just the story of the book, and that takes place in San Francisco and everything like that. So that's just like maybe 1/3 of this story of Cobra. And then Stallone takes it and just, adds in his elements and his action vibe and his police story to create that. And apparently there is an actual a fair game movie made in like the 90s that's got who the heck has it got in there? We're gonna get in that late point at night where it's like
Yeah.
starting to space out. But they actually remade it later on. Her, it's not too good, but yeah. So they did it. It doesn't have Cobretti in it. Who wants to watch that one?
Yeah. It does have Cobra.
Yeah.
Which I wish they were
Marion.
into. Yeah, I wish they would have leaned into that a little more. That's a cool, name. I wish they would just call him Cobra more or something, or just leaned into it. That damn Cobra, the whole.
Yeah, Cobra's at it again.
Yeah, they just keep calling him Cobretti. I'm like, come on, call him Cobra.
Yeah,
That's not Cobretti. That's Cobra. I needed more of that.
he should have been just a one name guy, really. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
like
And the movie's
nobody's ever heard anything else. He's like Prince, he's just Cobra.
Yeah. 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 The movie's not above that too, because there's some like very, very indulgent one-liners in this. It's not like the Arnold where he throws the knife and gets the guy attached to the wall. He's like, stick around. It's not like that. It's very indulgent and very, Diva Stallone.
Yeah. Well, Stallone, it's sometimes he tries things that Arnold would do, and they just don't work the same way. He's not as dialed in as Arnold for pulling off like the cheesy one-liners. Because Stallone's ones come across as kind of bizarre almost. You're like, okay, let's go with it. He's so serious.
He reminds me of like when George W. Bush would hear something funny and then try to repeat it and he couldn't do it. And it's not his type of style or humor or whatever. Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I won't get fooled again.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And
hit the Who music.
Yeah. Now watch this drive. That's my favorite Bushism. Have you ever seen that? Well, he's on the golf course and they're talking to him about terrorism. He's like, now we're going to chase these sons of bitches to the end. He doesn't say that. Chase them to the end of the earth and blah, blah, blah. And he's getting ready to golf. He goes, all right, now watch this drive. So anyway, but yeah, I guess before we get any further, we should go ahead and fire up that tail of the tape.
I think so.
Let's do it. That might be the most Southern I've sounded on the podcast. Fire. I said fire.
Sorry. Because you did the George Bush impression. I think that's what caused.
I think that's what happened. I slipped into the, those fuckers are all from Connecticut too, right?
I know. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
No Texas,
Yeah. Fool me once. Anyway. Speaking of presidents, Stallone's all cozy with Trump now, man. He's the ambassador. He's the special ambassador to Hollywood with, get this, John Voight and Mel Gibson.
I know. You can't argue with that talent right there.
Oh, no. I mean, listen, I love Mel Gibson. Now, he went crazy, but turns out all that crazy shit he was talking about, like Hollywood, and there's like the dark, evil underbelly, and they're like eating people and stuff. He's starting to
make a lot more sense.
He's starting to make a lot more sense.
I think at the end of the day, I don't know. Mad Max is my guy, so I don't care.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, John Voight can go somewhere. I care less about John Voight, but Stallone and Mel. But yeah, because I think I told you recently, Stallone got the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
That's right. Yeah,
and he was with Kiss.
Yeah, once again, all people I like.
Yeah, and George Strait.
Yeah, so there we go. I like George Strait a lot too.
Yeah, me too. I felt like there was somebody else there, but I can't remember. I definitely remember Kiss, Stallone, and George Strait. I just looked at the screen. I'm like, what? Because it was all silent. I just look up and there's Trump, and it's like, yeah, they wore the makeup, and it was wonderful, and everybody loved it. And yeah, he loses in the first movie, but the second one he comes back and he wins. And so May 23rd, 1986, Cobra was released. And if you never listened to the tail of the tape, that's when we go back to the week the movie was released and just kind of look at some events around the movie. Directed by George P. Cosmatos / Sylvester Stallone. And obviously starring Sylvester Stallone and Bridget Nielsen. And Were they married at the time, or are they
Yeah,
getting ready to be
I
married?
think they got married during the shooting of this movie.
Okay.
And that's the old story of that. Bridget Nielsen, she plays Red Sonja. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a fling with her on that set. When he comes back to America, was like, whoa, 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 I got Maria here. You can't be here, you crazy lady. Here, it's the go to Stallone instead. And this is
Oh.
like, hey, all right, I guess I'll
So
take her. She seems like she's 3 inches taller than me.
yeah, so that's exactly so basically Schwarzenegger, because they're beefing hard at this time. Not like angry at each other, but they're definitely very competitive with each other.
They're comparing knife sizes on talk shows and so on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly what they're doing. So he forced Stallone to have a sloppy seconds, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, he literally pawned her off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As like, here, have this lady. And by the way, she's crazy.
yeah. You can have me, or you can have Stallone. That whole thing, and it's like I'm bigger.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No,
Stallone.
I'm a Stallone guy. I like Schwarzenegger a lot. Like Schwarzenegger's way high up on my list, but I don't know. But Stallone, he seems to make a fool of himself a little bit more,
Yeah,
i.e. Rhinestone.
yeah, well, yeah. Well, I'll say this is the thing: is Stallone is a lot more experimental. That's the thing. I feel Arnold kind of always plays it safe. He picks the movies that are going to work really well in his favor. Stallone will go out of left field and try something very exotic and swing and miss sometimes. But that's almost what you got to give him credit for, is that he does stuff like that. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he is don't throw mama from the train, all those things. But hey, Cobra was a hit. Even though it doesn't feel like it feels like it was a box office bust.
yeah,
It
and it
feels like
made a
it was,
crap ton of money.
yeah. This movie feels forgotten. It feels like, oh, it feels like it's over the top.
Well, it is. I think it's also. I hate to sort of say it. It's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is pretty bad about keeping some of their movies alive. They
Yeah,
sort of like put them out there and then just like that's. It's like it took Arrow had to put this like Blu-ray out. Like Warner Brothers never put a special edition out. They didn't do anything with it. They just let it sit there. And even though it was a successful one, it never had sequels. I think that was the other thing too, is it
yeah,
felt like a movie that was going to be, in a sense, Stallone's like third running series after Rocky, after Rambo. You would have had the Cobras, Cobra 1, 2, 3, and they just did it carry on. I think that's also what kind of keeps it sort of landlocked as you almost want to say a cult classic, but like it made so much money, it's kind of hard to call it a cult film, But that's where it kind of feels like it kind of somehow landlocked its way into that.
yeah. It feels weird. Like I don't think I've ever been as shocked by the box office as when I saw this one, because I was expecting it to have been a movie that lost money. It grossed, 160 million on a $25 million budget. That's before marketing, but still, I mean, this movie
Yeah.
probably made $100 million profit.
Well, and probably
Um,
15 plus million went to Stallone.
yeah,
I
yeah.
bet you anything at this point he cashed in like the majority of that 25.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, and of course, it's a canon film technically, but Warner Brothers
Yeah.
got involved, and I think there's probably something to do with it too. Is that canon doesn't exist anymore. Warner Brothers obviously still does, and there's that whole licensing thing, but that makes things weird. And I mean, I don't see it on streaming very much either. I don't see this movie like on Tubi very often or things like that. I just kind of I had to buy it to watch it.
Yeah, yeah, because I have it on digital as well too. So it's like one of those ones where they don't just put it out there very much. It's weird. As I said, it's kind of a hidden gem. As I said, when I was a kid looking for this movie in like the early 2000s, it wasn't an easy one to come across too. I had to kind of really go out and search. It was one of those ones where I went to multiple video stores before I finally ran across it.
Yeah, it's weird. This movie is bizarre in terms of it feels like just a like you said, a forgotten little Stallone flick, and it was a big hit at the time, and it doesn't have the legs of some others, and I think the sequel thing is a big part of it too, which I'm surprised I wish they would have done a sequel to this instead of Over the Top. I mean, Over the Top's fun, but this
There's about they did a sequel to Over the Top.
no, I wish they would have done a sequel to this instead of Over the Top. A sequel to Over the Top and even further over the top. That's what we're gonna call it. Um, Over the Top again. Um,
And on the picture, looking like a semi truck, like driving over like hills and bumps, kind of like in Cobra. They're going through Venice.
They're arm wrestling in the truck. Like there's two trucks beside each other, and they're like arm wrestling while they're driving. Oh my god!
And there's another car coming ahead of them too, so it's
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah,
it's a be better can be played.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you win in that situation. I don't know, like, but
Nobody wins. That's the tagline.
nobody wins. Yeah, nobody wins. Oh my gosh! And their muscles just clothesline the car, and it explodes.
And now the kid's a little bit older because he's given up on like his grandpa, so he has no money.
Yeah,
He's flat broke. He's just living with like Stallone now, and they're just literally having to hustle by arm wrestling their way.
yeah.
It actually turns into a full arm wrestling movie now.
And then the kid from the restaurant, it comes back for revenge. Yeah, he was so embarrassed that like now he's back on like now he has joined the tour and like really bulked up, and you're gonna have that. See, over the top too. We just wrote it. So
Yeah, I'm so sold on this.
yeah. I think we need to make a list of all these fake movies that we make. It's so released on May 23rd, 1986, the weekly box office it opens number one. Cobra does. I feel like we don't often review a movie that was actually number one. Poltergeist 2 comes in a second. Third is Top Gun. So if I'm not mistaken, Top Gun took a while to take off, right?
I think so, because that was the thing I was looking at too. I was like, wow, it actually outbeat Top Gun, and Top Gun has only been out for 2 weeks. That's kind of ballsy.
Yeah. I guess they needed the music, like Kenny Loggins. It's the Loggins effect.
Yeah, and I could see that too, because once again, Tom Cruise at that era is not a household name yet or anything like that, nor is Val Kilmer. You know, even Tony Scott's only done a handful of movies so far. So like it's kind of like that's what jumpstarts them. And I think that's just word of mouth movie that just, and then next thing you know, that movie's in theaters for 6 months straight, you know, and it's just raking in money. The Air Force is standing out in front of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either that or you could, you got, the zombie squad's the other one too. You could sign up for the Air Force or you could come join the zombie squad.
Yeah.
What's more elegant?
Yeah. What is this? Short Circuit number 4 and Sweet Liberty.
That's one we should do that one of these days. I think about that movie all the time. I watched it a bunch when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it forever.
I hate it.
Johnny Five.
I like the movie. I don't like movies when you have like a moderately sentient being, like or like a dog, or like an animal, or a robot even, and then sad things happen to it, and it's not a human. It makes me really. I was like,
Make it sadder for some reason.
Like WALL-E, I love WALL-E. I think is the best Pixar movie I've ever seen. I will put that up against any of them. And I hate watching it because it's just sad. Like, that's why I don't want to watch Short Circuit. But I will watch it.
As I said, I haven't seen it so long. I kind of can't remember the sad parts. I just remember like the goofy comedy of the robot and his, British, Indian creator.
I mean, it's got to be better than. I mean, there's a 2, right? Short Circuit.
Yeah, the Short Circuit 2.
Okay.
The short circuiting.
Short circuits again. So yeah, that's your weekly box office. The critics hated this movie.
Yeah, and this movie doesn't do any, service to critics. I hate to sort of say it. There's nothing in there for them. If you're looking for an artsy, dramatic, something that's going to touch you on the heart kind of film, Cobra's not around. Yeah. Cobra's there to kick you in the balls and tell you that the filth is out there, and it might be with you in the movie theater right now as you're watching this.
You may die the second you leave this theater. Here's some critic thoughts. Wanton carnage.
That makes it sound like it's like some kind of like kung fu movie.
Wanton. Well, not wonton, like wanton.
What? Wonton.
It's about southern accent. Like it's a wonton carnage. No.
Is he talking about some John Woo movie? Like,
wonton carnage, arrow action. And then General saw he come in there, he died. Testosterone run amok. Should I edit that? I'm not going to.
No.
Testosterone run amok. I feel like we can do anything now that we did Dolomite last week.
Yeah, well, once you say testosterone run amok, you could do anything past that.
Yeah, that's what the critics said. Testosterone run amok. Um, the critic score, Rotten Tomatoes score 17, and then
Yeah.
the audience scores 44%. Here's the thing with this movie. I don't disagree with the critics, but also I'm not what I was expecting. So I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, you're not going to, develop another wrinkle in your brain watching this thing. As a matter of fact, it might smooth it out a little, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, and it's shot expertly and
It
put
is
together
shot very well.
very beautifully.
Yes,
You know.
I totally agree with that. But any additions you want to add to the
Yeah,
tell the tape?
I do. I got a couple more. So if we were gonna be in the arcades, in 1986, we're gonna go watch Cobra, but we got some time to kill. These are some of the top 5 games we might be able to find in the local arcades at the time, and that's Pac-Man slash Miss Pac-Man, still number one, even in like 1986. You got Donkey Kong still rolling up the charts. Of course, Ghosts and Goblins from Capcom comes in, which is one of the hardest games. It's weird. That's like one of the first platform games, and they like came out of like the gates and said, like, you know what? Let's like make this about as tough as a game could possibly be. They're like, why not?
Yeah.
And then for our Top Gun fueled energy, we got Afterburner from Sega. Which I don't know. Did you ever play that one in the arcade?
I don't know if I did or not, but I feel like maybe.
Because in the arcade, they used to have the cool, you would sit in the cockpit and everything like that, and it would sort of move. You see it in Terminator 2. John Connor's playing it for a little, or I think the redhead kid might be the one playing it.
Okay.
But it's in Terminator 2. Actually, I think it is John Connor playing it at one of those scenes. But awesome game in the arcade. Of course, it's still really fun at home, but I remember in the arcade with the joystick and everything like that. Oh, it was so sick. And then the last one was Kung Fu Master Renegade. One of those kind of beat 'em up games, another early days one. So fun stuff that we had there. And then also just for other fun, if we wanted to be driving to the movie theaters and we got some tunes going on the radio, but we're only listening to metal. That's it. I came to the conclusion. We're just listening to metal. We're not seeing what's on the pop charts. You got the top 5 metal songs, and that starts off with Metallica, Master of Puppets, because that album just came out. So you're getting big old heavy metal vibes right there.
Oh, that
In a
was
second, Slayer's Raining Blood.
okay.
This is the time period because whatever movie we did last, I guess Roadhouse, we had all hair metal stuff. This one is all literally like thrash metal, heavy metal type stuff. Because then the third one is Megadeth's Peace Sells.
Yeah.
And then more Metallica, Damage Inc. from Master of Puppets. And then final, Judas Priest, Turbo Lover.
Yes.
Which that's my favorite Judas Priest album, is that the one that's got Turbo Lover on it.
The great group of songs to listen to going to Cobra. Perfect.
It really defines it. Even though, ironically, Stallone movies have nothing heavy metal like in them. They got the complete, like, almost opposite. Still works, oddly enough. But at the same time, you hear that soundtrack of Megadeth, Metallica, and Judas Priest. If that was what the soundtrack of Cobra was, it feels like it would fit in so well.
It would have been better than anything they'd done in this movie. Because, okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but this seems like the appropriate time to address this. The end credit song is a John Brown and the Beaver Band or whatever they call it. Ass. It's great value brand Bruce Springsteen.
It really is.
And it's just, it does not fit with the movie at all. At all.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Bruce Springsteen, because that was actually part of what Stallone was trying to go for in this character. And I almost want to say that I read somewhere that he wanted Bruce Springsteen to kind of be in here along with him or something like that.
I mean, yeah, I could see that.
You know,
hey, little girls, you're dead at home. Nice. Yeah, the soundtrack, some of it's good, but it's like if you asked ChatGPT to write an angsty, like, action 80s song, like Angel of the City.
or give me a hard blue collar working song.
Yeah.
Working man song, but I want it pop techno infused.
This song has a 5 o'clock shadow. Okay.
Yeah.
And this one, I didn't like any of that. It all sounded like, great value brand versions of other songs. And come to
Compared to
think
like
of
especially
over
like Rocky Four, it definitely is not nearly up to par. But I still
that's what
kind of
he's
like
trying
it
to do.
though.
Eh, he's trying to do Rocky Four. It doesn't work.
Honey,
It's better than Over the Top. Over the Top is terrible. The music, the music is terrible. I mean, and there's even some good artists in there. Like Kenny Loggins is in there. Even that's terrible.
yeah.
But
If you have Kenny Loggins and he's not firing all cylinders, something's wrong.
yeah, Highway to the Boring Zone. All right, that's your that's your tale of the tape. We'll be back in a moment. We're gonna do the rewind review. Tell y'all what we thought of this movie, and we're back in just a moment. So Cobra, one of the edgiest action movies of the 80s, and big hit, $125 million to the box office. Sorry, $160 million off the box office, $25 million budget, and it seems forgotten. Kind of seems, you know, if you're a movie nerd like we are, like, and you run in our circles, you know of Cobra, but the general public, they know of Rocky, they know of Rambo, but Cobra gets, forgotten. And Cobra's at least better than some of the Rockies and some of the Rambos.
Yeah, no, Cobra's up there. I would say it's top 10 Stallone material for sure. I don't know. The top 5 might be a little bit tough, but I definitely think it's a top 10 contender for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not better than Rocky 4 or Rocky, really any of the first 4 Rockies.
Yeah, say 1 through 4, no, and probably I don't know. Even Rambo's kind of even tough to kind of say because I like Rambo 1, 2, and 3 quite a bit,
Yeah.
and 4.
I can't remember 3 and 4 ever. I can never remember what's in those movies, ever.
4 is super good.
Yeah.
Like,
I did a Rambo marathon one day at Alamo. I worked it. And I remember that one getting a lot of cheers. So
yeah, no, that one's like high bar. That almost is like one of the best Stallone movies out there is Rambo 4.
mm, Rambo 4. So, yeah, I really like this movie. I had fun with it. Now, I think something that I read after I watched it was how much of this movie was cut out. Like, there's basically this alternate cut out there. I'd love to get my hands on it. And I was like,
I've been looking for it for a long time, and nobody seems to have a copy of it anywhere.
yeah, I mean, it's got like about another 30 minutes of footage, which would make sense because this movie's only like an hour and 27 minutes. It's a short movie. And I was like, it's part of the early part of it kind of feels rushed. And I was like, man, there's also some stuff when as soon as it was over, I'm like, they never address these fuckers with the axes. Like, what are these people doing?
Well, nobody has any backstory in this movie. That's the weirdest thing
No.
about it. You
No.
you don't know anything about Cobretti. You don't know anything about Bridget Nielsen's character for the most part. You don't even know what the cult guys are about. You know what I mean? Are they a terrorist group? Or like, what are they doing? Like, do they have a purpose? Are they trying to overthrow the government? What the hell's going on here?
There's some of those cleanse the world motherfuckers. Like the world's dirty, everybody's sinful, they're going to hell. So we should do the right thing and slaughter them because that makes us morally superior. And that's kind of their bit. But yeah, there's like this cult that you see, like they're in this dark, dingy, like just imagine where a cult would meet. That's where they're meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
And
They're banging axes together over their head
Yeah.
in unison.
And it cuts to that like all throughout the movie. And I thought, oh, this is where there's going to be a final fight scene, and all these fuckers with axes are going to be standing around in circles. And then there's going to be like a chicken fight to the death. And then like, oh, they all put down their axes because their guy loses. And no, those fuckers, they're the Knights of Ren in the Star Wars like sequels. Like, you just don't, it's a cool idea. And you're like, oh, nothing ever happens. And then, yeah, there's no backstory to Cobra. There's no like character development, really, you know. He sucks.
They trimmed this movie down so fast, and the idea was that Top Gun just came out and it was starting to ramp up real high. So they thought if the movie's real short, they can get an extra screening every single day and make sure they made more money, And they pulled that idea out like at the last second to really start trimming this movie up. And kind of the bummer was it was a double whammy. It was like not only did they cut like story stuff out, but they also had to cut a lot of the violence out because this movie it was like instantly NC-17, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, no, we got to get it back down to R. So the bummer kind of is too is that there's a bunch of violence that's being missed in this, which this movie feels like it should be really violent, and it's not super violent. It's partially violent, but compared to other things, like it's not even as violent as Rambo or any of that kind of stuff. It's definitely kind of toned down. And that's why I feel somebody needs to go in and just Indiana Jones the Warner Brothers vault and find out where that copy is sitting, because it's got to be somewhere down there, deep in the depths. Probably looks like the cult leader's placed out in the depths of like Warner Brothers, where Bugs Bunny's sitting on a giant throne and like it looks like hell.
What's up, Doc? You here for Cobra? Yeah.
They always come for Cobra.
But they never leave with Cobra. So yeah, it's weird. It's I don't see that's the thing. That's right there is why the 80s aren't better than the 70s or the 90s. I love 80s movies. Love 80s movies because you wouldn't have got this movie with this type of edge and this type of attitude, this type of angst in the 90s or 70s. It would have been 70s going to be depressing as fuck. Like everybody would have died. 90s would have just been like Con Aired the fuck out of it, which I love that too.
Yeah.
But the 80s has its own character. But the one thing they do is like capitalism always takes a front seat. Like I'm a capitalist through and through, but like it's got to take, when it comes to like movies and stuff, it's got to take a back seat sometimes. It's got to be like, okay, can we like not ruin the whole integrity of the story just to kind of get like an extra screening every day? Like, let's let the movie be what it is. And who knows, this movie with that extra violence in there, that might have got people talking, like the buzz, like, oh, this guy gets run over by the truck, but then his head explodes, that really could have done something to it. It might be more of a classic today if they would have left it alone. We might be still talking about how Cobra might have got a sequel.
Yeah, Cobra could have been Stallone's biggest one almost. I feel like, because that's the thing, is you can tell that this movie is, because it is half horror movie, that it probably was going for a lot of really violent, cool scenes and stuff like that. And then, it just kind of, Warner Brothers came in. See, I kind of wonder if it was just a canon movie by itself, not Warner Brothers. I know they needed the money, but let's just assume Canon could afford Stallone, because it's not the movie, it's Stallone. Yeah. Because I feel Canon would have kept in a lot of the violence, and it wouldn't have been as much of a still. I know that Warner Brothers kind of, and this is the weird thing, is it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers did all the Dirty Harry movies, and the Dirty Harry movies are very violent. And, in a sense, Cobra is almost like an 80s version of Dirty Harry. It's almost like a modern kind of sort of retelling of that, where there's a cop who's going to come by and he's going to clean up the scourge of the earth, and purify it his way, because you know what? A lot of times these good guys, there's only one way out,
Yeah. Judge, jury, and execution room. Never seen Stallone in a role like that.
Exactly, because crime is a disease, and I'm the cure.
Okay, hard as fuck line. Yeah, great line.
Yeah, trailer line, too.
Oh, 100%. Well, even that whole opening scene where this guy, for some reason, first of all, he's an asshole because he parks his motorcycle in the handicap spot.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's like, what a dick. And then he goes in there and, of course, slaughters people. And you're like, not surprised when you park your bike in the handicap spot. But, he goes into this grocery store and randomly starts shooting people. And one of the things is that guy that looks like Babe Ruth, he's like, we got to get the Cobra. I think he says the Cobra.
Yeah, he says the Cobra. At the beginning of the movie, he's referred to as the Cobra, like he's the Batman.
Yeah, which is hard as fuck. And then, of course, he rolls up in that, like, old Mercury. And
he rolls up at like 100 miles per hour. It's like those cops are like pretty much jumping out of the way.
Yeah.
Because he's not stopping.
Yeah, he does not care. And of course, like, hey, this guy just shot up a grocery store. We don't know why, but he's fucking crazy. And I thought they were going to delve into that too. I thought they were going to like attach it to some part of the story. Really, this thing just kind of exists on its own, this opening sequence. It's really to introduce you to Cobra, and it does a great job of that. So he's got to sneak into this grocery store where this guy just like shot up all this fruit. Which, by the way, I thought at first when he shoots that like those melons or whatever, it was the lady's body exploding. I was so disappointed when it wasn't. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
The kind of bummer to the beginning, though, he doesn't shoot up enough people. I know that sounds really weird saying it, but like he only kills really one guy.
Yeah,
I feel like if you want to make it seem really terrifying and to see like why we need Cobra to go in there, because it's like one of those things like those 35 other cops outside can't do a single thing to stop this one dude. But,
yeah,
here comes Stallone, Cobretti coming in there. You know what I mean? He's going to drink a Coors, chuck it across the way, distract him with it.
yeah. Hide behind the Pepsi sign. And yeah, no, the opening scene is just crazy. You get to show off his car, you get to show off his look. But even in the opening scene, that's where the famous trailer shot where he kind of like turns around and like you see the glasses and everything, which he wears. The leather gloves and the glasses make me uncomfortable because he wears them. At like I get home, I'm throwing on like sweats. You know what I mean? Like I'm hanging out. This guy's doing like his leather gloves and his glasses. It bothered me. But yeah, so you have the
Like, how does he
opening.
use a computer with those gloves on? Let's be honest.
How does he eat the pizza with the gloves on? And
Yeah,
does he cut the pizza with the scissors?
yeah, he cuts the pizza with the scissors.
I don't
He
like
eats
that.
half of it. Yeah, it's really a weird choice.
That whole thing. Okay, also, here's something else I noticed about the movie. Partly I appreciated this, but partly it took me out of it too. And they do this later when with Bridget Nielsen's character. Is they skip all the police work after. He goes into this store and he shoots the store up, helps, further damage, collateral damage in the store. And finally he gets into a situation where he has to shoot the guy. Like we know as an audience, Cobra does the right thing. But he walks out. The media is all over him. Did you do the right thing, Cobra? Did you really have to shoot the guy? I did what I had to do.
I used everything I had.
Yeah. So there's major moral implications to this character's, this scene with this character and what Cobra does and who Cobra is. And like, he just gets back in his car, goes home and eat fucking pizza. Like he doesn't have to go back to the station to fill out any paperwork. He doesn't have to answer for his crimes. He's just like,
and the
he
fact
goes
is,
back and yeah.
I just gotta say this, the dude he takes out in the store literally has a bomb strapped to him with a dead man switch on him, and Stallone just chucks a knife at the dude. Just let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then the add insult to injury. After he throws a knife at him, doesn't kill him, then he decides to shoot him some more in front of everybody. And there's that lady there that's almost more scared to see Stallone show up than that guy who was holding up the store the last like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, yeah, now I have to go back into work. She just was very, very upset. The whole thing is weird. It's just, and I appreciate when you cut things out like that too. But also, he can't just go home and just like watch a Toys R Us commercial and cut his pizza with scissors and and just to hang out. Dude. Hey, let's see what's on the news. Maybe I made the news. I don't know. But yeah, he just kills the guy and just goes home and eats pizza.
Yeah, well, he goes home, and when he first shows up, there's a parking spot he wants, and there's some like Chicano gangster dude sitting there, but he doesn't care. He just literally full on rear ends them, pushes them out of the way, parks where he wants. The dude gets up with like an attitude. Stallone just rips his shirt in front of all of them just to like give him great shame, and pretty much is almost like, yeah, next time learn your place.
Oh man, that was the Cobra man. You messed up. Yeah,
Well, because there's a scene later on where those guys come back, and the guy's practically like 2 steps away from him. Like, I shined your car up nicely, Mister Cobra.
yeah. It's oh man, this movie's so weird.
Got you some empanadas. Like he's really trying to, but I just love it. Stallone after that too. He leaves his windows down. He doesn't care. Like, what's that guy gonna do? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? He practically flashes his gun at him too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, what's going on in the city is there's this, after that opening scene, you find out that there's a serial killer. Well, you think it's one guy. Well, the police do anyway. But we know that the weird axe people have something to do with it. We never figure out what, but but this guy is going around killing people, and the one guy wants Cobra to help because he thinks this guy is gonna, clean the city up, and this other like dork character's like, hey, how about we have some professionalism? How about we do things the correct way? But he never he never does anything. He just bitches about Cobra the whole movie.
Yeah, and that's the main villain from Dirty Harry 1.
Yeah, yeah. He reminds me. Oh man, he reminds me of this one guy that I used to run into all the time. He looks just like him, and this guy was named Tim, and he'd always try to recruit me to Amway. And he like met me like 6 times and recruited me like he had never met me every single time. And then I eventually worked at this like pizza place for like 10 minutes, and he was one of the people, like one of the managers there. And that guy looks so much like him, and it just made me want to punch him in the forehead. But anyway, yeah. So like, Cobra's controversial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he's old school. He's taking care of justice, his own way.
Yeah, he's part of the zombie squad.
Yeah,
which we never meet these fuckers either.
No, he is the zombie squad. Realistically, him and his one buddy from Dirty Harry. Once again, there's a lot of Dirty Harry stuff in this movie. Yeah, those are like the only 2 guys I think that are on the zombie squad, and that's it.
Yeah, and they're like, Bridget Nielsen at one point said, "What is the zombie squad?" And they're like, "We're the bottom line." And she's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And just doesn't question what that was. What's the fuck is that? I wish somebody would call them out on their bullshit. The only time either one of them get really called out is his buddy, whose name I can't remember, Cobra's buddy.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, he thinks he's in the 50s, which I was like, yes.
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's his name?
Yeah, that's his name. Gonzalez. I think they supposed to refer to him as Gonzalez in it.
Oh, Tony. I think it was Tony. There's a famous football player, Tony Gonzalez. So that's what yeah. Interesting. So yeah,
I love how Stallone always berates him about his eating habits too. The dude's like, he'll be like eating like a candy bar and stuff. He's like, hey, you should maybe get some back, get some prunes or something in your diet. Get that corn to work better.
Yeah, he's definitely RFK in this movie. Like, focus on what everybody else is eating. It's like, wow, those French fries really drowning in the ketchup. Yeah.
You're gonna eat it like that?
Yeah, and she's like, yes, I am. But yeah, so Stallone is, they don't want him on the case because there's this guy going around killing people, but now he's just killed more people. So I think he ends up with like 18 deaths before they finally put Stallone on the case. And, he's going to, go through the city and, shake people down is what it says. And of course, when he starts this, we get a montage literally 12 minutes into the movie.
Gotta have a montage.
Yeah, good old Sylvester Stallone montage. And
it's actually a pretty good montage. It's weird, but it's good. Because you got a big match of Stallone and Gonzalez. They're going around. They're going to like tattoo parlors. They're asking around with hookers and all kinds of stuff. But then it intercuts between Bridget Nielsen doing her modeling thing with, get this, a bunch of weird artsy robots. So Stallone and robots.
Him in the fucking robots.
The weird thing is, it's not Stallone in a sci-fi movie. There's Stallone in regular grounded in reality movies, and there just happens to always be robots in there.
What is his thing with robots? He wanted to make a robot movie so bad.
But this is the weird thing. Is apparently those artsy robots, him and Bridget Nielsen were out like looking at art or whatever, and they found this guy that made a bunch of weird robots, and he wanted to put them in the movie, and that's how he got them there. And then Bridget Nielsen's got a bunch of these weird outfits going on. I mean, at one point, she literally looks like Nikki Sixx, like straight out of Theater of Pain, like Home Sweet Home music video style.
Yeah. You have the Stallone montage with him shaking people down, and then you're being introduced to Bridget Nielsen's character. Like, who is this lady? Why is she, it's weird. And long story short, she's driving home from one of her, whatchamacallit, she's like, being
it was like after the modeling thing, she walks out into that garage and she's with the Sledgehammer dude, that actor star, and then from that point on, that's where she runs into the murderers and whatnot, isn't it? Oh no. Did she stop earlier?
So she stops on the way. She accidentally sees the murderers, and this is the biggest part of the movie that I didn't like. So she sees them like they already killed two people, and she sees them putting a body into a car, but she
Yeah.
doesn't really fully understand what she saw. All she did was like look at these people. That's all she did.
And
And
such
she
a simple way.
decided,
That guy got he knew everything about her from that one view.
yeah,
In this
yeah,
tunnel at like 1 a.m. in the dark under a bridge. Let's be honest. How you're not going to see him a
yeah.
whole lot.
So here's the thing. Here's what this whole movie is about, right? She sees this guy, then goes to her modeling thing, and they're like, "Hey, you got to go kill this girl because she's literally just saw you for 30 seconds, and she's going to be able to tell everybody everything about you guys and that you guys are the murderers and whatever." And then they spend the rest of the movie trying to kill her, further exposing themselves, which they could have just left her alone. And she barely got a sketch out.
Well, and I
You
was
know,
going to say, I don't think she really saw much for the most part. She'd been like, well, that was kind of weird. There's a bunch of creepy people hanging out by a van. I just drove off.
yeah.
At the end of
And
the
it,
day, I feel like I do think that scene could have been a little bit better. Like, it would have been better if there was an actual, like, run in. It could have been, like, in a public place, but just enough that, like, she actually had a little bit more interaction. And
yeah.
that guy had a little bit more interaction with her, so he knew who she was. Maybe he learned something in that process, and then it escalated.
Yeah, the whole thing is just very vague and weird. Like she glances at these people. Wow, that was kind of scary. And then goes does a modeling shoot. Doesn't even think anything about it. But now they're gonna go murder her because she saw something. So the whole movie is them just trying to kill this girl because she kind of saw them and is gonna expose everything. And I'm like, y'all are just like, making it worse. So, but it's some really cool death scenes in there. When she comes out, she's being kind of like accosted by her like a photographer, like, "Hey, just sleep with me, whatever, it's the 80s."
80s
And
robots.
yeah, we got some robots in there. We could do some weird freaky stuff with that. And then they just run. My favorite death in this movie is where they just slam that one police officer into the wall with the van.
Dude, that scene's so good, so well shot.
Yeah. Oh man, all the action in this movie is well done.
Yeah, it's super good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is the action's really good. It sounds weird. It could be slightly more violent. I think the thing is they cut away some of the extra like blood packets and so on like that, and just they had these whib shots. Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer because I hate to sort of say it, like Magnum Force, Dirty Harry 2 has all that stuff in it.
Yeah. So so she sees these people and they try to kill her. And that's basically the rest of the movie. There's this what's that guy's name? Brad um Thompson?
Which guy are we talking about? The
The
main
main
villain?
guy with the knife, the really cool knife.
Yeah, Brian Thompson, the Night Slasher.
Yeah. Oh, that's a knife. Um
This is a knife. See,
yeah,
if Crocodile Dundee showed up, the Night Slash would be over with. You know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly. And he's the main killer. So there technically is a serial killer. Um, but he's like the main one for this group of people, and that's what Stallone's arguing in this movie, that there's a group of people. There's not just one guy, and they're like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch, and take your 5 o'clock shadow and go somewhere else." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Ooh,
Nobody wants to listen to Stallone, so he goes and he's like, well, I'm just going to go walk across the room and go to my glass shooting range. It's just right in the middle of the office.
yeah." I thought that was weird too. He's like, "I'm gonna go over here to the shooting range," and like he could see the other people in the background like yelling about Cobra, and he's just like shooting people. Well,
Yeah.
shooting, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so that's what the movie is. The movie is Stallone's on the case now. He's got to figure out who these people are. And one guy really doesn't want him to do that. He's kind of prove himself, and you're gonna learn about his methods. And then Bridget Nielsen is they try to kill her like 47 times in this movie. Um
Yeah.
and and of course she falls in love with Stallone because that's what would happen in that situation. But yeah, it's him having to figure out the case, and it's weird because you see this bigger scheme, you see this bigger plan, but so much of that is cut out. You don't really understand what's going on. There's a rat involved, and you know immediately who it is because they even make her look kind of like a rat
Exactly.
in the movie. And there's just a lot of it's a very, very simple plot, but basically what the movie is him protecting Bridget Nielsen. She's not safe at the hospital. She's not safe anywhere. And the story forces them to be together and Stallone protect her. And that's basically what the movie is.
Well, and I gotta say this, that hospital scene though, I think might be one of the
So
best
good.
parts. It's so well done. It's straight up thriller, horror, slasher, like a Giallo film. Like everything about that is so expertly shot. The editing on there is so tight and quick and fluid and all that kind of stuff. I think that's really the biggest takeaway of this movie. This movie is like one of those ones, if you're looking at it from like the cinematography slash editing and just all that kind of stuff, it's so good. And just that cat and mouse chase throughout that hospital is just creepy as all can be.
It reminded me of the Terminator.
Yeah, very
Um,
much so.
and so you have that Brad Thompson guy who's a huge dude, jack dude. Like he's probably as big as Schwarzenegger almost at this
Oh,
time.
yeah, he's definitely way bigger than Stallone.
Yeah. And what I loved about that scene and why this felt like a Michael Mann movie was very slow burn and it was kind of like imposing. Like that whole scene was the way it was shot. But I like the little details again where he sneaks in there, he kills the janitor, but then he gets on the elevator and this lady's like, "You bitch, you should have taken the service elevator. You ain't supposed to take this elevator." And she kind of cusses him out. And even when he goes to mop the floor, there's like a lady saying, "Hey, he shouldn't be mopping the floor right now." So it makes sense instead of just, him getting away with it. People are like, "What's this guy doing?" And of course, everyone who questions him, except for the lady in the elevator, they all
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he almost is going to kill that lady, but that elevator door opens up quick enough because he's pulling the knife out from behind.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And he's got that big old like fantasy knife thing that he's swinging around.
Yeah, that knife is badass too. Reminds me of Mad Max. I could see that in Mad Max.
Yeah, it's probably not the most practical knife, but it looks
No,
cool on camera.
no, it's Darth Maul's lightsaber. It's
Yeah,
it's cool, and that's what its purpose is to be cool. And
yeah,
that scene is amazing. Um, some other stuff I really liked about this film. So there's three really, I think, great scenes in this movie. There's the hospital scene, which again is very scary, almost has a horror movie, Michael Myers type vibe
yeah,
to it. And you have this imposing figure who's sneaking through there, blending in. And of course, Stallone figures out she's stuck at the hospital alone. Bridget Nielsen barely escapes this, but like he's pounding through the door. It looks like, The Shining. And it's very, very suspenseful, very edge of your seat, shot incredibly well. Then there's the car chase.
the car chase is
As
super good when they're flying through Venice and everything like that.
Yeah, way over the top, absolutely ridiculous. That car would have never made it that far. But man, it looks so damn good. It is so, so, so good.
Yeah, no, it's so badass. Just watching that Mercury just flying through the speed humps and everything like that. Stallone blasting out the window of his like finished machine gun. You
Yeah.
know,
And also it has that flat gray. You don't see that very often back in those days. So it has a really cool like paint scheme too. And he just whips that thing around and that's a badass car.
Yeah, no, that thing is so cool. It gets kind of all destroyed, I think, in this scene here and whatnot. But yeah, just those car chases in there. There's actually even the second kind of one. It's a little bit later on. There's that second one where they're in the pickup truck and Stallone's in the back firing off. And he's got grenades because, why not? He's a police officer. Where did he get those from? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. So this is where we see, I think, our candidate, in my opinion, for explosion of the year from this movie is in the car chase when there's like, I think it's a gas tanker or something like that. But
Yeah,
either
it
way,
falls over and it blows up, and then Stallone feels he's got to shift it into gear and blow through that.
yeah. And it shows them like launching through the fire. Great shot, best shot explosion we've seen this year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the shrapnel of the hard target one, but it's really well shot though.
Yeah, no, it looks cool. And plus you got a car going through it. Like that that gives it some bonus
Cool
points
car.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
badass car.
Yeah. So that was
An awesome car. Wait a second. That's what the license plate says.
Oh yeah.
50.
Yes. Great car. Yeah. So awesome car. And so that was really, really good. And the car chase scene is amazing. He does some badass shit in there and he whips the car around and he goes in reverse and he's like shooting people. Um, you know, really, really good scene. And also, again, I talk about this a billion times, the geography of the scene, all the action scenes, the car chases, really well put together. Like really, you could follow what's happening.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's not like Bad Boys and then Will Smith's running out the street and he's this guy's at the other end of the street and now he's gonna run the corner. You're like, what the fuck's going on? You kind of understand what it's mapped out.
Yeah.
Um, so I really love that. And then there's the third big action scene where, finally they get Bridget Nielsen out of the city. And they're like these little houses, these little, really cool place.
Yeah, which a lot of that stuff is like if you just go like maybe just like an hour outside of Los Angeles, there's all these like really small, weird, like kind of hillbilly mountain towns up there that they're so interesting because nobody normally would go there. You got to kind of go out of your way to get to them. I remember one time I went on like a detour because they were working on one of the main roads down there and went through all sorts of little towns like that. And it's like, dude, these are so cool. And they all look like exactly probably how they've always looked, if I had to guess. It didn't look like they had any modernness to them. And that's sort of where they take Bridget Nielsen as kind of a hideaway, which they use in a lot of movies and stuff like that. You make them feel like they're going really far. They'll make it out feel like it's Northern California. Like, no, you're not even close to Northern California. You're just literally right across. You're just really like a hop, skip, and a jump away, but it feels way different.
Yeah.
Yeah, from, if you're not in like Los Angeles City, that seems way radically different just being that far up.
Yeah, it's that little place is so cool. It's a great setting for the end of the movie. And two things are going on right now. One, they keep trying to protect Bridget Nielsen because they're just going all out just to kill this girl who kind of saw them, who couldn't describe them to anyway. That's whatever. So they're trying to do that, and then Stallone's trying to figure out. Well, three things are happening: protect Bridget Nielsen. Stallone's trying to figure out who's killing all these people, and there's also a rat. They figured out that there's a rat. Nobody takes Stallone seriously. Um, but
Yeah, nobody notices that the rat lady is literally like making a phone call every single place they go to. Like,
very obviously too, by the way.
yeah, there's even a part where like in like the motel and like she's out on the payphone out there. Sloan's like, "What, phone inside doesn't work?" She's like, no, it doesn't." Yeah, better get inside then. It's midnight. What are you doing?
That's the tip for him though. That's where he starts getting everything ready. And I recognize that lady too from like all these other different things, but I could not. It was driving me crazy. I could not figure out what I saw her in, and I'm still not 100% sure what movie I saw her in. But
Yeah, I know I've seen it before as well too.
Yeah, she reminds me of the girl that's in Reno 911.
Oh yeah. I know.
They kind of look the same. Yeah. But yeah, she's clearly the rat. And she's kind of like, it feels like she's kind of like the one running this whole operation to cleanse the world. She's, head of this thing. Because she's always kind of like when that big giant serial killer guy is like doing something angsty, like sharpening his knife or, sweating profusely in the middle of this room for some reason. She's always like hovers over him. Like you'll see her show up in the like the window or whatever. It's a very Emperor Palpatine Darth Vader kind of thing going on. Like she's like, "You'll kill the Cobra and bring it to me," that kind of thing.
So I could feast on his body. It tastes like a real snake.
Yeah, I did some shit she would say. Oh God. So yeah,
I gotta say this though. What I do like about this movie, especially for like an '80s one too, is that it's almost got a very '70s like villains, where like they have no reason whatsoever for you to like them. They're just like that pure evil, pure terror, Where I know once you get to about the '90s, they start to try into well-round villains, and especially it's bad in like the 2000s too, where next thing you know, they almost try to make the villains very relatable. Which I feel loses a lot of like their evil and kind of mystique and like almost their sinister plotting and so on like that. Because once you can kind of get to the point where you see the villain, you go, yeah, I kind of see why they did that. I mean, I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but I don't blame the guy either. Like to me, it's like they're not really more villains anymore. I like when it's just like, oh, this guy's just pure terror. This guy is just killing for like literally nobody knows why. He's just doing it because that's what he likes to do. He doesn't need a reason.
Yeah, you're right. In the 90s, it was either mustache twirly villain, like very obviously, or a Bond villain.
Yeah.
Um, and then, or you have like that you try to, I can't remember who said this, but they said the best villains are the ones where there's some truth into why they're the villain.
Yeah, or they don't
And,
think that they're villains, like that kind of
yeah.
stupid notion. That works for something. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but like that's not for all villains. That is not like if you want a real sinister villain, don't make them think that they're the good guy.
Yeah, and it depends on the thing too. Like in Inglorious Bastards, they were interviewing Christoph Waltz about that, and he's like, "Why's your character? How do you tap into that evil? Because he's not evil.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he's doing something good. He thinks he's a good guy." And I'm like, "Oh, well, in that case, that works. I mean, and that's why he plays that character so damn well."
See, and that one makes sense for that character, but I think there's certain ones, especially when you're going to get to the horror genre, you want to kind of have it just be pure evil. I think there's something
Yeah,
said about that,
or make the good guys really likable. That's something that I notice a lot of movies. When I don't like a movie, um, that's why usually. Like it's because I don't care about the main characters, and I don't care what happens to them. They make Stallone really makes himself kind of likable in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just kind of aloof. It doesn't. They don't bother. Well, they may do in the other cut, but they don't bother with some crazy backstory on why he's this guy anymore. How he ended up on the zombie squad. I think they allude to something, but they don't really ever go into detail.
They mentioned at one point he had like a wife or a girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
Bridget Nielsen asked that, but it's like very passed along real quick.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I think that's almost what kind of makes it. You just don't know. You only know him as is. You don't know what he was before, what he wants later in life. It's like no. Here he is, and he is the guy that almost is just as terrorizing as the villains, but to the bad guys themselves. I mean, Stallone practically kills more people in this movie than that villain ever did on screen, at least. Yeah.
There was like 50 some people was the body count in the movie, and Stallone kills 41 of them.
Yeah.
So
he's the terrorizer of Los Angeles. He's the one to fear.
yeah, he just casually just blows everything up and just leaves all this carnage, and he goes and does the most casual shit afterwards.
Yeah. Just goes home, works on the computer, eats that half a pizza with a glove on.
Yeah.
Pulls out his gun cleaning equipment out of an egg carton. Why not?
Yeah. And wherever he goes, there's carnage. Because the other thing that happens in this movie is that so the rat rats him out. They're stuck at these little huts or houses or little old hotel rooms at this little cool place in California. And he realizes that she's the rat, and he starts working on his weapons because he knows these bad guys are going to come on these motorcycles and everything. And when they get to that town, they just slaughter everybody indiscriminately.
Yep.
They just go through there and just kill everyone. I guess that's the wanton violence that they were talking about.
Yeah.
And, of course, they come up on Stallone, and we get an amazing shootout and subsequent car chase and more explosions.
Yeah, we get a lot of good stuff here. Even though this is also one of the parts too where I can tell that they've cut away some of like where you would expect to be more blood pack explosions and so on like that, and they're just trimmed out, which is kind of bummer. Because it almost has a weird like, even though it's still violent and still action packed, it has that slight PG-13 feeling almost in this action scene. I don't know why, but that's what it kind of comes across as.
Yeah, there's not a lot of blood. The one R-rated scene in here is when the guy manages to get into the back of the pickup truck with Stallone, and he throws him over the front of the car, and he rolls under the truck. That was really cool. That was really badass. That's my favorite kill of the movie, probably. And so of course Stallone's just in the back seat. I mean the what do you call it? The bed of the truck, just shooting people, completely oblivious, like impervious to other bullets. Like
exactly. I just gotta say this. I think we come to the conclusion that vehicles have the best kills in this movie.
Oh yeah, because the one van that crushes the guy to the wall, that was a really good one. Then the guy rolling under the truck. A lot of people shot on motorcycles too.
There's some great stunts in that too. There's some falls. There's one where a dude falls off a motorcycle, and he is like so close to getting hit by like another vehicle. Like you just watch it and go, "Gosh, that's so." Yeah, that's just almost luck that they got out of the way. That's probably less stunt and more like, wow, they wasn't supposed to be that close.
Yeah, it's very Mad Max level
Mm-hmm.
of stunt work in there. I mean, it was really really good. And then of course it's the '80s, so you go from this high octane action scene to where a very intense cat and mouse action scene in where a warehouse. This one's like a foundry though.
Yeah, it's badass. So you got all this molten steel, and it's blood red and dark colors and metal and everything like that. It seems like almost like
Mm.
they're battling it out in hell.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of episode 3, Video of the Sith. That lightsaber fight.
You were the chosen one, Cobretti.
Yeah, except this was actually good. That's about to yeah, that's about to. But this was better than that. This was awesome, and of course the kill at the end is good. But you have this cat and mouse game. You have the rat that's in there that's trying to you know, kill Cobra and kill Bridget Nielsen.
She could take a
How many
shotgun
people?
blast like a champ.
Oh yeah, yeah. She does take a shotgun blast like a champ. So does Stallone's partner. He gets shot. He survives.
Yeah,
Um.
you get shot. He
So
almost feels like he's sort of left for dead, but he makes it.
yeah, yeah.
80s. If
And
it was the 70s movie, he would be dead right there.
oh yeah, I thought he was dead. I was really surprised that in the movie, like, oh, he's there. He is. Um. So yeah, there's really intense fight, and you knew it was going to come down to like a hand to hand combat, like Cobra versus the big other giant dude. I can't remember his name. With a
Night
really cool
Slasher.
knife. Yeah, Night Slasher. Yeah, you knew it was going to come down to Cobra and Night Slasher, which sounds hard as fuck when you say it that way. Um, and they get to a really cool duel. Sparks flying in the background. There's lava, and of course he eventually. I knew when I saw those hooks coming by, I was like, okay, how are they going to incorporate this? And of course he hooks them onto the thing, which is amazing.
Yeah, like
But does he
Leatherface
die?
style.
Yeah. Does he die though when that happens? No, he gets incinerated.
Yeah, which is so bad. It's such a badass death. Once again, it does kind of cut away faster than I feel like it should. I think
Yeah.
it should have held on him. You should have heard him scream and burn and all that kind of stuff. But whatever.
I
They
think
do all.
the other cut probably has that.
I see. That's what I mean. It's because once again they talk about that. Like one of the main issues of the other cut was the fact that it was like NC-17. So that was the main reason they had to kind of trim it down. Lo and behold, while they were at it, they cut down other things too. I just hope
Mhm.
that somebody finds that one of these days. Because a lot of times,
Yeah.
the bummer kind of is, I always think about all those extended movies, and I know I've mentioned it multiple times on the podcast, but like the big window was the 2000s when you had the special edition DVDs and people were really into unrated cuts and director's versions and all this kind of stuff. I don't know why a lot of older movies didn't go like, dude, we got all kinds of stuff in the vault. We can just pull this out. We can just resell it again, get some extra double dip action.
Yeah.
And Warner Bros. Especially was they were always notoriously bad about not putting any of their movies back out again in very good versions. Maybe if it's a real major movie, but so many of them they just kind of keep releasing the same 1999 DVD one. There's probably just a laserdisc scanned onto it. Yeah,
Warner Brothers sucks.
yeah. Warner Bros. Is really just the. I don't know. I hate to start saying they have some of the best movies, but boy, did they just not treat them real right.
Yeah. They're better than Sony though, but not much.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
but yeah, amazing death at the end of this movie. Now this movie did something that I really liked that Roadhouse didn't do. I don't need every question answered. I don't need every plot point satisfied. I just need like an actual ending.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I hate about Roadhouse is like, oh, there's the end, and then they just go show them two skinny dip, and then it just fades off into oblivion. And I'm like, no, they had to do some dialogue. He gets to punch that one dickhead guy in the face
Yeah.
who's been bugging him all movie and talking shit to him. Like, no offense, Cobra, but I hate you and you're bad at your job. Or no offense, Cobra, but I hope you get hit by a bus. That guy.
Yeah. The guy that literally took a bus full of children in Dirty Harry.
See, there you go. Yeah, so he gets punched in the face, and of course, after this whole town is basically slaughtered, there's countless dead members of this like cult strewn across the desert, and his partner gets shot, and then this serial killer who has been terrorizing the city is just now gone. Cobra just gets to leave on his motorcycle.
Yeah, with Brittany
And
Nielsen.
with
Just take the
no,
witness protection lady off and see ya.
yeah, no questions asked. You know, I would have been a little bit more subtle than you, Cobra. Like, yeah, you think we all would have, but you couldn't, do what Cobra did. So shut the fuck
Well,
up.
and I just love he just takes some random motorcycle sitting there. Whose is it?
Yeah,
Who
here's
cares?
wonder though. Yeah, I'm Cobra.
It was probably what it was is there was probably a plainclothes officer that showed up because he got the call, left his bike there running, and then Cobra just saw it like, hey, the keys are in it already. Let's go.
Or maybe he stole it from one of the dead gang
Yeah,
members.
it probably might be from one of the gang members, realistically.
Yeah,
But I like to
yeah,
believe that somebody else just wrote it there. Just Cobra doesn't care.
yeah.
Well, he's
They
pissed off because they asked him like, "Hey, is there one thing that we could do for you?" He's like, hey, wouldn't mind if you fix my Mercury for me. Yeah, well, we ain't got the budget for that, Cobra.
Yeah, they didn't expect him to say anything. They were just like, "Hey, is there something we could do for you?" And he says, "Yeah, you could do this for me." And they're like, "Shit, he actually had something." Damn. Yeah, that's not the budget. I was like, "Can we get you like a steak dinner or something?"
Yeah,
Yeah, 40 people he killed in an hour and 27 minutes.
I know. Well, I will say also, even though I want to really see this extended cut, and don't get me wrong, I think that that'd be really cool. The nice thing is this movie, because it's so slim and trim, boy, does the pacing just go so fast and so perfect. Like, you never feel
Mm.
bored at all in this movie. It's just great the whole way through.
I think the pacing was good in the movie, except the first few minutes after the grocery store scene when they're starting to set up the character. Like when he leaves that grocery store, the next 5 to 10 minutes are kind of weird.
Were they just
Like,
kind of meandering around the police station?
yeah, but it's also throwing you deep into a plot, and you get a montage very early in the movie, and it's like, well, I don't know, like anything about Cobra except that he's able to do that, and just like little half references to he's part of the zombie squad or something, and they don't like his tactics, but I don't know anything about him. I don't know any of these characters you're about to introduce me to. So the first part does seem kind of rushed and weird, which is where I think
Mhm.
most of the cuts probably were. But then after that, going through the second act and third act is paced extremely well. And,
Yeah.
especially once you get to that hospital scene, from that point of the movie to the end is way more coherent, in my opinion. Not that the first part's bad, it's just not as, streamlined as the second half of the movie is.
Yeah, and it does make sense that probably was set up to have a lot more of the story built in right there.
Yeah, I think
Other
so
thing I was going
too.
to say is apparently, I think in the original script or whatnot, that the initial scene was not going to be at a shopping center or not a shopping center, but like at a grocery store, but instead it was going to be at a movie theater, and it was going to be a guy holding up it there. So it's almost kind of a cool thing I picture is if you're watching it in the cinema, the fact that you see a guy holding a movie theater hostage. Now, granted, this is 1986, post Dark Knight. It's a little bit different story. But in 1986, the fact that you'd be in a movie theater watching a movie of it getting held up, I think is a cool concept in itself, and almost kind of scary in its own way.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
very meta.
I do think the shopping center or the shop or the whatever the grocery store works just as good too, because that's another place that works well. There's all kinds of stuff you can blow up there. It's Christmas. We forgot to mention that this movie actually predates both Die Hard and Lethal Weapon for being a Christmas action movie.
Yeah, we can't get out of Christmas, man. No matter what we
Yeah.
do.
Well, at least this one's not as depressing as. Ironically, when we watch Christmas movies that aren't like first and foremost a Christmas movie, they're not nearly as depressing.
As soon as they enter actual Christmas into the movie, you notice like the meaning of Christmas kind of stuff. And like, you know what we gotta do is kill the fucking parents.
Yeah, first and
We
foremost,
Yeah.
Santa ain't coming if one of the parents doesn't die. Even better if both of them do. That's how you get Rudolph showing up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta kill both of his parents for Christmas movies. That's a lesson, kids. You want to write a Christmas movie, kill off the parents. And then build from there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what type of Christmas movie you're going for. That's an important ingredient.
Yeah. You can go for something like Emmett. We'll put it this way: Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas both have dead parents in it. Okay, and both good Christmas movies.
Yeah, so that tells you something.
Yeah.
Cobra does not have dead parents in it.
No, but not very Christmassy either. There's just like
No,
Christmas lights.
it's just Christmas in the background. When that dude gets shot in the beginning, the only guy that dies in the grocery store, of course, when he gets shot the second time, he has to go flying into that Christmas tree because it's just there. You got to take it out.
Hmm. Yeah, and then they took out the Christmas tree, all the Pepsi stuff. Oh man, that's crazy. So I think our consensus, real quick before we go, we have to talk about our explosion of the year. I think our consensus is the one where the Mercury goes flying through the fire.
Yeah, that's the explosion of this movie. I think that
Yeah,
really
I
stands
think
out
so
the
too.
most.
Yeah. So that's your explosion of the year candidate. From this movie, we have um, Cobra. We have that explosion. Hard Target's an amazing one. Um,
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse has a really, really good one. And then Night of the Comet. Kind of low key, but really, really good.
Yep, exactly.
Most consequential one, probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will say that's for sure.
Yeah. So I don't think the Zam had anything for us.
No, we had Sparks. That was what we got instead.
Yeah.
I mean, explosions, but we got Sparks.
And Dolomite didn't have anything for us.
Did Dolomite not have explosions?
I don't think it did.
I thought it did.
I thought it wasn't in the budget.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they didn't have any explosions. Maybe it had some, I don't remember fire.
If that movie was, a nowadays movie, that movie would have had explosions when he threw punches.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah.
That movie, if that movie was ape and CG type stuff, it would have been having like all kinds of like kicks that would blow up and everything like that, and all kinds of weird things.
Oh, man. That'd been really, really fun. Dolomite was good, though. We love Dolomite.
Yeah,
Dolomite
was
explosions for us. But
I don't know why. In my mind, I picture it having an explosion, but I think that's just how good the movie was.
yeah,
You still felt the explosion, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Something exploded in that movie. I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah.
they had to forego the explosions for the titty budget, I guess. So or lack thereof.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cobra, if you've never seen it, definitely go watch it. You're probably gonna have to buy it.
But it's worth it. It's worth going out of your way.
I think so too.
Cobra, because
It's a forgotten hit.
who doesn't want that in their collection right there?
Yeah, look at that. It's just gonna make your shelf look better, And I think that's the thing too with this movie is that it's not a cult classic, it's a forgotten hit because this movie did well. And it was it was a vehicle for Stallone that didn't disappoint. It's not one of those weird offshoot movies he did like Over the Top or Rhinestone where you're like, I don't know. I could live without that one. This one's, one of his good ones. Maybe I'm thinking of out of movies he did that aren't part of like bigger franchises. There's like this one, Cliffhanger,
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. Demolition Man is always going to be my favorite.
Yeah, Demolition Man might be the best Stallone movie that's not a Rocky or Rambo film.
In my opinion, it might be the best Stallone movie.
Yeah, that one's so good.
Yeah,
that movie almost could be a sequel to Cobra if you kind of do think about it, because it's almost a similar type character. Like they brought him from the 80s into the future so they can go hunt down, an old school criminal.
Yeah, I think so too. Demolition Man, I don't love it as much as Rocky 4, but I think it's a better movie than Rocky 4.
Yeah, well, Rocky 4 is just so solid as far as the experience.
Demolition Man might be the best Stallone movie other than the original Rocky.
Yeah, the Demolition Man might be the most well-made Stallone movie out there all around.
Well, just it's a whole Orwellian kind of like, vibe. I love that. Did you see they're making an animated version of Animal Farm?
No, I thought you were going to say Demolition Man there for a sec.
Oh, no. I talked about Orwellian. We saw a trailer the other day, and it's like a kid's animated movie of Animal Farm.
Oh, I know. I take that back. I saw the trailer for that, and I thought that was really bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, you got Seth Rogen in there, and like, hey, and doing this stupid thing. And I'm like, are they really making like an animated movie? I'm like, that's a kind of a cool idea. But then I'm like, this is definitely geared towards kids. This is like, it's going to have a message for the parents, but they're definitely trying to get kids into the movies to see this
Yeah,
animal.
it has some wackiness to it and some slap.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. This world's getting weird.
Yeah.
It really is.
So sometimes that's why it's best just to go back to 1986 and enjoy it the way it was meant to be.
Yeah, definitely. Greasy, grimy, city is hot and sticky, and things are gonna explode. People are
Yeah.
gonna die, and you're gonna
We're
have
gonna
fun
have a
watching.
montage the whole
Yeah.
way through.
There's no easy way out. I wish they would just literally played the Rocky Four soundtrack in this movie.
I know. I feel that's the thing. If Stallone was always searching for that Rocky Four magic once again.
Yeah, yeah, it's unduplicatable.
Yeah. Rocky Four/Rocky 3. Yeah.
Tuber. Oh man. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely not the Rocky Four soundtrack. But anyway, that's Cobra. Go watch it. Stallone, 80s. What else do I need to tell you? Okay.
Yeah. Pinnacle 80s-ness, Some people even say this is what it felt like to be in Los Angeles in the 80s. It was that scary.
It's getting there now. From what I hear. I've only been to Los Angeles once, so.
I don't know. They made it out that, like, San Francisco was like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and then I remember the last time I was there, I was like, I thought it looked better than it looked 15 years ago. I don't know. I was really expecting like Mad Max stuff to be happening there, like hobos to be like commandeering like buses and plating them up on the sides and so on like that. But there was none of that.
Yeah, they're doing like sacrifices in the middle of the Oakland Coliseum.
Yeah, exactly. Candlesticks been abandoned. They're clinging axes together in the center.
Not addressed. Bothered me.
No.
Really, really, really bothered me. There's several things in this movie I want to address, but again, I understand why.
That's why we got to Ocean's 11 to go find the copy of this in Warner Brothers.
No.
See, that's a Warner Brothers movie right there, so we can Ocean's 11 it into there.
Oh, man. See, I was picturing Ocean's 11's better because I was picturing Tom Cruise like
Mission
floating
Impossible.
down. Yeah, Mission Impossible, which I finally just watched the last one the other day.
Oh, nice. You want to swim out from the bottom there and wonder how that happened?
Yeah, I was like, what the yes.
Yeah, that was the one. That was my main thing I walked away from. Like, how was he able to swim from that far of depth, hold his breath, not have to pressurize himself? I don't know. That part was like, I'm like, I could believe in Tom doing a lot of stuff, but boy, that was a stretch right there.
Yeah.
There's some suspension of disbelief going on, But if Tom says he did it, he did it. I'm not going to argue.
Damn right. But yeah, go watch Cobra. It's not streaming anywhere. I had to buy it, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, as always, Cobra is always just a good movie. And I feel like it gets better with each watch too.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because the more I know about it and everything like that, I just enjoy it more and more, If I had to compare it to Commando, which is what I thought it was going to be like my first time around, I don't know if it's Commando good, but I still like Cobra quite a bit.
Yeah, I first time watch, but I'm glad I bought it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's not one of those ones you buy and go, well, that's just going to sit there in the library and look at me.
Like Hooper. Like, I liked Hooper, but I'm like, I bought it. And I'm like, I don't need to watch Hooper again.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Anyway, well, thank y'all for listening to this episode of Via VHS Podcast. Come back next week. I think we already got picked out what we're going to do. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but I know it's going to kind of fall into the same vein, but maybe even a little cooler than
Well, we have this category sort of going without really mentioning what it was, but we kind of took these like mythological type characters in cinema. Not mythological like, fantasy style, but like those ones where they're those larger than life, but still grounded in reality. Of course, like Dolomite, like Cobra, like Patrick Swayze, and Roadhouse.
And Roadhouse. Yeah, Roadhouse. But yeah, there you go. And next week we have something for you, pussy guy. I'll just put it that way. And we'll see you then. But anyway, thanks for listening. Y'all have a good one. And Via VHS is out.